Hello, hello, hello. Hope y'all are having a wonderful Monday. Just give a couple minutes. Let everybody get in here. Got to put my phone on the charger before I get to running my mouth. But it was low. And y'all know how I tends to get. There you go. Try to get my big head in the picture. Trying to see what time it is. 7:02. All right. Well, how y'all doing this Monday? This wonderful Monday afternoon. Hope everybody had a good Monday. I'm glad I'm able to be here with y'all this evening and share this lesson. Just spend some time talking about the Lord. How you doing, Sister Rhonda? Hope you're doing fine and dandy. Hope you're having a wonderful Monday. I appreciate you being here as always. I'll just give it like maybe one more minute, see if anybody else come in. I'll get everything, got my charger on, got my clock set. For some reason it's weird. Facebook, usually when I do my lives, like I can still see like the time and I can see like my battery energy up top. For some reason I can't see that anymore. I don't know if there's a setting I changed or they changed the setting or what, but I can't see it, so I have to set a clock. Because if I don't, I keep on running. And then go way too long. So got me a clock right here. But I thank y'all for being here today. Of course, my name is John Stewart. On behalf of River Lake Baptist Church, on behalf of the Lost Sheep Ministry, here to present you with another interesting lesson today out the book of Judges, y'all. We're almost done with the book of Judges. I'm doing great, Sister Rhonda. Been a good day. Pretty busy day, but pretty good day, so I can't complain at all. But we're almost done with the book of Judges, and we've got a few more chapters, and then we're going to move on to something else, something a little bit more, well, I ain't going to say more interesting, because this has been a good book, but just move on to something else. But the last four chapters, now y'all notice, as we've been going through the book of Judges, we've been covering the vicious cycle. You know, we went through the vicious cycle, and we saw how Israel kept on going through these cycles where they start off humble, start off humble, and because they're humble, they pray out to the Lord and ask the Lord for some blessings, and the Lord sends them those blessings. And then sometime after the Lord was sending them blessings, then eventually they get apathetic. And they just kind of forget about the things of the Lord and forget about doing the things that the Lord had them to do. And they will eventually end up turning away from the Lord and turning to idols. And then after a little while of apathy, eventually they end up in destruction. The Lord punish them for turning their back and going toward the idols and doing the things that they are not supposed to do. So we've been doing that through the book of Judges. And we've seen how the Lord has come to brought these judges in to rescue Israel after they turned their back on them time after time and time and again. And then last week we finished up with looking at Samson. Now the way this book of Judges, called the book of Judges, but Samson is the last judge that we really look at. We're really not going to see any more judges throughout the rest of the book of chapters. We got about 5 more chapters left, and we're not going to see any judges throughout the rest of the chapter. But what we are going to see is what we're going to talk about tonight. If y'all noticed the post that I did earlier on Facebook, it's called "When God Is Not King," and that's what we're going to see as we look at the rest of the book of Judges. We're going to see they got these 5 chapters, 5 different examples, and we're going to see a world without God. We're going to see a world where God is not on the throne. I mean, because if you think about it, if you really start getting into the Word. You know what I'm saying? Before I really started getting into the Word, I always noticed the terrible things that were going on in the world. And I mean, we all notice it. We all sit back and observe, and we see that all that goes on in the world, And a lot of time, it is really kind of what kept me from God for the longest. And a lot of time they keep people from God because they like, how can the world be so bad? How can God allow this to happen? And things, so on and so forth. And a lot of time what we do is when we look at the world and all the evil that goes on in the world and the bad things that go in the world, we blame God for those things. And I was one of those people that did. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my little stand is a little off. I don't know what's going on. It's bothering me. But again, we tend to blame God and you know what I'm saying, how do we know? We say, how did it get to this point? How did things get so bad? And we blame God for the situation that the world is in. You know, but then once I started getting in, I was one of those, like I said, I was one of those people before I really started serving the Lord. I was the same way. You know, how can God allow this? And blah, blah, blah. Why would God allow these things to happen? And blaming God. But then, now that I fully immerse myself in the Word, I know exactly why the world is in the way it is in the situation it is now. I know exactly why it's the way it is. And the reason why the world is like that is because in our hearts, we no longer have God on the throne. God is no longer on the throne. God is no longer the king of our lives. He's no longer the king of our homes. He's no longer the king of this country. He's no longer the king of this world in our hearts. I'm not saying he ain't, because we know God is. He is king, whether we want to believe it or not. But in our hearts, you know, in the way that we live and we do to make the decision for our lives, God is no longer on the throne. In our lives, like I said, in our lives, in our homes, in this country, in this world. I mean, he's not even king in the churches anymore. There's a lot of churches that do not go by the word of God anymore. They go about doing whatever the world say or think that they should do, you know. And we look at the world and we wonder, like, why is all this going on? So when you look at the world and all that's going on in the world and wonder why these things happen, you got to know it's not God's fault, because that's what we want to do. We always want to blame God first, and really it's not God's fault. It's that everything's happened. We got to know that the reason why these things are happening is because of the decision that we've made that has turned this world into what it is. This world is the way it is because of decisions that we've made. We've made this world what it is. This is not what God intended this world to be. This world was supposed to be paradise. And you always go all the way back to the Garden of Eden and Adam and Eve. This world was supposed to be paradise. That's what God made this world to be, paradise. We've made this world what it is because of the decision that we made, because of the gift that God given us, which really is a gift and a curse of free will. You know, God is not forcing us to do anything. He's not forcing us to do anything, but he's allowing us to live our lives, make the decisions we want to make, and do the things that we want to do according to the weakness in our heart, basically. And that's why this world is the way it is. I mean, because if you anything like me, you know, if you're like me, and not that I'm perfect and nothing like that, I'm not saying, but, you know, I do spend a significant amount of time in the Word. You know, I told y'all I spend an hour and a half on here teaching you guys. I spent an hour and a half putting the lesson together before that, and that ain't even my personal time. That doesn't even include my personal time that I spend just reading the Bible for myself, learning for myself, or the time I spend, you know, talking to God, talking about the Bible, talking to God with other people. I mean, I spend a significant amount of time. So when you spend a lot of time in the Word, you're able to really see what's truly going on. You're able to see the spiritual wickedness in high places and the things that's really going on in the world. And some of the stuff that I see, even though it's going on and it's known that it's going on, it still blows my mind. How can we be okay with these things that's going on? It blows my mind. Not only okay with it, encourage it. You know, the big issues that's been coming up here lately, y'all been saying a lot about, is like transgenderism. You know what I'm saying? It's insane to me that we came to a place in our society where, okay, I can wake up tomorrow and be like, you know what? I'm a woman. I really feel like I'm a woman inside. And and everybody's going and people congratulate me on it kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that blows my mind that we have people that don't know which bathroom to use. You know what I'm saying? They don't know what they wake up one day, they one thing, they wake up another day, the other thing, and we say that's perfectly okay, that's perfectly normal. That is not normal. That is not okay. You know what I'm saying? More important, that is not of God. I mean, I think we've had two men win Woman of the Year. That is insane to me. Like, if I was a woman, as much as, and that's what I don't understand, because most of their supporters are women, and I'm like, with all that y'all go through, with periods and you know, the hormone change and losing your mind for a whole week every month, you know what I'm saying? That a man, stuff that a man can never have to experience, and y'all are just so willy-nilly giving up this title of being a woman because they said, you know what I'm saying, oh, I feel like a woman. That is insane. Childbirth, all this stuff that y'all go through. I could never go through what women go through with the emotional roller coaster that they're on, and no, they might not be. I might be able to withstand more physical pain than a woman, but a woman can withstand a lot of emotional pain and mental pain. And to me, that's harder to deal with than physical pain. You know what I'm saying? That's a gift that the women have, and y'all just so willy-nilly give it up to any guy that comes along that throws on the dress and say, "Oh, he's a woman." I mean, you got this woman, this dude swimmer that's classified as a woman that's breaking women's records, and we're like putting that in the record book. That is insane. They should have. If he feels he want to compete with women, that's cool, but they should have their own. You know what I'm saying? They should have their own category or something. That is not fair. No, is it normal or rational for us to take somebody that is clearly a man? He has all the man parts. He just thinks that he's a woman, and put him in the competition with a woman, and then break a record because he's not a woman. He has all the male parts, and then give him that record that's taken from some woman that worked her heart out, and her butt off to get that record. That is insane to me. You know what I'm saying? That just blows my mind that we allow this, the homosexuality. I mean, you can't watch nothing without it. And I'm not bashing homosexual people. I'm just saying these are things that's going on. You can't watch TV without them propagating that. Like, if I go out there right now and I get into an argument with a dude and he do something disrespectful and I punch him in the face and he's a homosexual, I can go to jail for a hate crime. Whereas if he wasn't a homosexual and I did the same thing, it wouldn't be no big deal. Two men duking it out. But if I hit a dude in the face, and I would do something like that, but if I punch a dude in the face because he disrespected me somehow, and he called the police, I can go to jail for hate crime just in the fact that he's homosexual. You know what I'm saying? Because they've gotten to the point where they got more rights than anybody. That is insane to me. Something that the Bible and the Lord clearly said is not right. It's not there's some gray area or where you can interpret it as God said it. No, he clearly says that is an abomination. You know what I'm saying? But we got to a point in our country where it's more right to be a transgender or homosexual than it is to be a straight person. They almost shame you for being a straight person. You know, you look at abortions. You know, they say, oh, well, the woman has the right to choose, the woman has the right to choose. Now, if you're in a situation where you was raped or something of that nature, understandable to me. I still think, you know, you should go along with it, but that's not me. I can't speak on that. And I actually know a woman that had got raped. I used to work with this woman that had got raped by a man, and it wasn't nobody she knew. Like, a guy just kind of jumped out of the alley on her and hit over her head and raped her, and she ended up getting pregnant because of it. And she kept the child. And I ain't gonna lie, she was miserable because of it. She was miserable. She had that motherly love, so she had to kind of take her and protect it. But at the same time, it was, you know, the child didn't look like her, so it obviously looked like the father. So it was a constant reminder of this traumatic experience she had. I can kind of understand that. But for you to go out and get drunk and hook up with some guy and get pregnant and then go get an abortion because you don't want to take that responsibility, no, I don't understand how we call it. And we say, give it cute little names, abortion and things like that, women right on that, when in reality it's murder. If you look at the Bible, it's murder, because if it wasn't murder, if the thing wasn't alive, why are you having to have this procedure to kill it? You see what I'm saying? If it wasn't really alive, is it not really a living thing, then why you have to have a procedure that to kill it? Because if you don't have a procedure, what's going to happen? It's going to grow and it's going to become a life. And it's already becoming a life the moment it's conceived, but it's going to grow and become another human person. But yet, look at the rate of abortion. I think it's something like 3,000 abortions a day. That is insane to me. And we don't think it's a big problem. You look at all the frivolous murder, not only abortion, you know, that's child murder. You got the frivolous murder, people just killing each other for no apparent reason. Like my home I'm from. That's why I don't watch the news, because every time you come on TV, oh, such and such got shot. Somebody, I heard it was I can't remember where it was at, but I saw on Facebook there was another mass shooting sometime either, I don't know if it was a day, because I don't keep up the news, so y'all don't get on me. But I heard there was another recently. There was a mass shooting somewhere, and it wasn't in Tennessee, it was some other state. Another mass shooting. Why is these things happening? Why is this thing war? You look at the war that's going on in Ukraine. Why is this war happening? Because one man feels that he has the power and authority to go and take what he wants, and he don't care who has to die for him to get it. No, that's mine. It used to be ours, so we want it back. No, it's not yours. There's nobody on this earth. There's only one group of people in this entire world, on this entire earth, that can actually say, I own some land, and that's the Israelites. And that's because God gave them that land. They're the only ones that legally and spiritually own land. You know what I'm saying? Nobody else, none of us own the land that we own. None of us, I don't care how much money you pay for. I don't care what your mortgage note is. You do not own that land. That is of God. So who are you to go out and take that land from somebody else and kill people in order to do it? You know what I'm saying? I mentioned earlier the rape. You know, guys just taking women, and and a lot of times we think of rape, we always think of women, but there are kids and men that are raped as well. You know what I'm saying? It's not just women. Little boys get, we always think of molestation stuff as little girls. Little boys get molested just as much as little girls do. I can attest to that personally, because y'all know it happened to me as a child. Why are these things happening? You know what I'm saying? Then child molestation, that's another one. Why are these things happening? And it's funny, everybody wants to, be sympathetic with the homosexual community and the transgender community. Oh, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to do it and all that. And I'm going to tell y'all, all they doing is setting up for what they really want. It's not going to be long. And it's already happening. It's already happening. But it ain't going to be long until, child molestation is going to be legal. You know what I'm saying? They give it a cute little title, intergenerational relationships. No, you are having sex with a child. You know what I'm saying? These are the things that's going on. And why are all these things going on? All these things are direct results of what happened when the world refuses to acknowledge God. When we have taken, and that's what we've done, especially in this country, in the world as a whole, but especially in this country, we've taken God off the throne. We no longer acknowledge God as an authority figure in this world. And that's why these things are happening. If you don't believe the Bible talks about it, we're going to be in, of course, y'all know we're in Judges. This is just the intro. I haven't gotten to the lesson yet. This is just the intro. But we're going to be in Judges chapter 17. But I'm going to flip over to Romans chapter 1, verse 20 to 32. I'm going to read to you what happens when people don't acknowledge God. And that's what's going on. It says this. I'm going to take my spectacles off. In verse 20, the Lord tells us this. And I'm going to read the New Living Translation version. It says, for starting in verse 20, first Romans chapter 1, verse 20 says this. The Lord tells us this. It says, from the time the world was created, people have seen the earth and the sky and all that God made. They can clearly see his invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature. So get this. They have no excuse whatsoever for not knowing God. See, everybody's going to say, oh, I don't know. They're going to try to say, I don't know it, but there's not there's not going to be an excuse for you not to know God. You've seen God. If you are living and breathing, you've seen God, you know what I'm saying, every single day of your life. So there's not going to be no excuses. But watch what happened. He said, yes, they knew God, but they wouldn't worship him as God or even give him thanks. And they began to think of foolish ideas of what God was like. The result was that their minds became dark and confused. Claiming to be wise, they became utter fools instead. And instead of worshiping the glorious ever-living God, they worshiped idols made to look like mere people or birds and animals and snakes. And what do? We worship idols. We even got a show called American Idol where people call in and vote for their favorite God, basically. So then it says in verse 24, so God let them go, like I told y'all earlier. God let them go ahead and do whatever shameful thing their hearts desired. Because they took him off the throne. You know what I'm saying? They want to do what they wanted to do. He said, and as a result, they did vile and degrading things with each other's bodies. Instead of believing what they knew was the truth about God, they deliberately chose to believe lies. So they worship the things God made, but not the Creator himself, who is to be praised forever. Amen. See, they did vile things with their body. You got men change themselves to women, women change themselves to men. That's vile in the eyes of God. You see what I'm saying? Let me go for it a second, because this is not the sermon, but I can preach on this verse all day, this chapter all day. So then in verse 26 said, that is why God abandoned them to their shameful desires. Even the women turned against the natural way to have sex and instead indulge in sex with each other. And the men, instead of having normal sexual relationship with women, burned with lust for each other. Men did shameful things with other men and as a result suffered within themselves the penalty they so richly deserved. Now, when here you go. When they refused to acknowledge God, he abandoned them to their evil minds and let them do things that should never be done. Their lives became full of every kind of wickedness, sin, greed, hate, envy, murder, fighting, deception, malicious behavior, and gossip. They are backstabbers, haters of God, insolent, proud, and boastful. They are forever inventing new ways of sinning and are disobedient to their parents. They refuse to understand, break their promises, and are heartless and unforgiving. They are fully aware of God's death penalty for those who do these things, yet they go right ahead and do them anyway. And worse yet, they encourage others to do them too. See, what's going on? See, that's why we have our society. Is that not, that verse right there, is that not our society? Is that not what we have going on in our country right now? Is that not what we have going on in our world right now? That is the world right now. And why is the world like that? Because we refuse to acknowledge God. Those are the kind of things that happen when you doing those things in your life you know you're not supposed to be doing. When you can't stay away from those things that you know you're not supposed to stay away from, it's because you're not acknowledging God. God is not on the throne of your life. You're living your life the way you want to live your life, and you're doing the things you want to do. You see what I'm saying? So as a result, this is what happens. That's why we have the chaos that we have. That's why you got men that say they women, and women. They even got people now that's saying they're non-binary, which means they're not a woman or a man. They're just a being. You know, how dumb do you have to be? And they're crazy. There's laws for these people. You know what I'm saying? There's laws for this stuff. There's laws to protect them. Don't you know that if you go in certain states, I think California is one of them, if you go in certain states and a man tell you that he's a woman and you should call him or her and you don't, you can go to jail for that. You know what I'm saying? If you don't participate in their foolishness, you can be penalized for not participating in their foolishness. That's how far away from God we got. You can go, if a woman tell you she's a man and you still call her a ma'am, you can go to jail for that. That is insane. There's actually laws that will put you in jail for not calling somebody the pronoun they want to be that day. And that same person, the next day, they can feel like they are a woman or a man like they're supposed to, and it's perfectly fine. You see what I'm saying? That's the world we're living in right now. That's the world, and the reason why our world is like that, the reason why we live in this world, the reason why we're seeing this foolishness. What did it say in Romans? What did he say? He said, God let them go ahead and do whatever shameful things their hearts desire. And again, he said, claiming to be wise, they became utter fools instead. You're a fool. You talking about you non-binary. Oh, you're not a woman or a man. What are you then? You see what I'm saying? And the reason why that's going on, you got people agreeing to it. Like I said, we got two men that have won Women of the Year, which that just blows my mind. That still bothers me. You got men competing in women's sports and breaking women's records. You know what I'm saying? That just blows my mind. Why is that happening? Because God is no longer on the throne. God is no longer on the throne in our lives. And you know what I'm saying? And we're getting to a point we have really became a godless world, a godless nation, definitely. We're no longer one nation under God. That is no, we're just like the rest of the world. And the thing is, if you of the world, you're not going to get this. You might look at me as a hater, or you're just a Bible pushing all that. If you're of the world, this stuff does not bother you. It does not bother you. Hey, what's up, Nikki? Glad you were able to make it in here tonight. Where's that knucklehead friend of yours, Anthony? I hope he's in there too. Come in at some point. But I'm glad y'all are here. Everybody's here. I appreciate you. But again, if you of the world, these things don't bother you. It don't bother you at all. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like with my kids, as much as I spend time with them in the Bible and all that, it doesn't, the homosexual issues don't bother them. And they often, like if I say something about it, oh, here you go again. You know what I'm saying? Here you go again with this homosexual stuff. And it's not that I hate homosexuals. I don't want anybody to think that I've led homosexual people to the Lord. I have homosexual friends. I talk to them just like I talk to everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want people to report my video saying I'm homosexual, bashing people. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. But what I'm saying, that stuff is not right. And we shouldn't call it right. And by us agreeing and making laws and making it legal and all that stuff, we are going against the very word of God, what God's saying. And the reason why it's happening and why it's so rapid is because we've gotten away from God. We're no longer a nation or a world under God. And they go, "And what's up, man?" And my phone is showing people, it's not showing people. So I'm just going to go along with it. But I hope y'all are in there and I hope y'all are enjoying this. But again, you know what I'm saying? We are no longer of God. We're no longer a nation of God. So as we get to the end of this book of Judges, like I said, we've been going through the vicious cycle, what I've been going through. And Samson was actually the last the last judge that is going to show. So these last 5 chapters, we're going to be looking at something. We're going to be focusing on something else. And it's going to be looking at a world that exists where the way the world would be, how the world is going to be if the world exists and God is not the king. Because that's where we at. That's why we have all the things going on that we have going on. That is why this world is the way it is. That's why, again, we have the transgender issue, the homosexual, the abortion, all of the murder and the fighting and the killing and the war and the rape and child. All those are things that happen when you live in a world where God is no longer the king. And that's where we at. We're in the situation where God is no longer our king. So tonight, we're going to be in Judges chapter 17. Very small chapter. Very small chapter. I'm going to try to make it quick. And every time I say that, I end up going way over. But it's a very small chapter. I only got 9 little points out of this chapter. But like I said, for these next 5 chapters, as we end up this book of Judges, that's what we're going to be looking at. That's why I said the title of this, When God is Not King. Because these are some of those weird stories that you're like, man, that is weird. Or how can these people be this dumb or do this thing kind of thing? And really, Micah is just, this chapter 17 is kind of like just an introduction to it. And I hope y'all hang around for this series, because when they get into chapter 18, 19, 8, I think it's 20, 19, 20, 21, real crazy stuff going on. There's definitely a world without God that's going on. But that's what happened. This is what we're going to look at as we finish up the book of Judges. We're going to look at a world where God is not the king. And that's what we're going to go on. So for the next 4, like I said, next 4 or 5 weeks, as I go through these last 5 book of Judges, we finish up this book of Judges. The sermon, the series is going to be When God is Not King. And we're going to see how people are going to behave. We're going to see their action. We're going to see the kind of things that people will do when God is not king. And as we go through this, we're going to see that's exactly what's happening in our society today. So I'm going to go ahead and pray and I'm going to get started. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, thank you so much for watching over us today. Thank you for all these wonderful people that have been here, that are here tonight to encourage me forward in this message, Lord. I was wondering which direction to go with this message, and your spirit just hit me actually while I was at work, and you started piecing things together and started just with my familiarity with the story. I just was able to start piecing things together and put this series together of When God is Not King. You know, when you're not king, Lord. And I pray that this lesson will help people see, first of all, help us open our eyes and realize that we've taken you off the throne. Not that you're no longer king. That is absurd for us to think that you're still king, but not in our hearts, not in our minds. You know what I'm saying? Not in our lives. We've kicked you out of our lives. We've kicked you out of our homes. We've kicked you out of our country. We've tried to kick you out of this world. And of course, you're still God. You're still king. But in our life, we're not serving you like we are. So I pray that as we go through this word, Lord, you send your spirit down upon me. Use me tonight to bring this message forward and hopefully bring some people under conviction if they've taken you off the throne in their lives. Help them to be able to see that, Lord, and get them to want to make the decisions that they need to make to put you back on that throne. Because that's the only way we're going to have a successful life. That's the only way we're going to get this world to where it needs to be. That's the only way we're going to get peace in this world is if we put you back on the throne. Take man off the throne and man's laws and regulations and commandments and put your laws and regulations and commandments back on the throne, put you back on the throne so we can have a good, successful life and really live our lives to honor and glorify you. So I ask you to just be with us as we go through the session tonight. Send your spirit down upon me so I may bring out these truths, and send your spirit down upon the hearts and the minds of those that's watching this video, Lord, so they may let these truths sink into their heart and use them and bring to come under conviction so they may do the things they need to do to get back to having a closer relationship with you, Lord. I thank you so very much for all you've done. Thank you for this opportunity to share your word with these people. And I say this prayer in your wonderful son, Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so again, I'm sorry, y'all. My tip of my nose itches. Somebody must be talking about me or something. So if you got your Bible to follow along, we're going to be in Judges chapter 17. And like I said, it's a really short chapter. I only got 13 verses. And like I said, I'm trying to make it short, but at the same time, I ain't gonna shortchange y'all neither. Y'all know me. I follow the Spirit. You know what I'm saying? And I try not to throw too much extra stuff in there, but I want to follow the Spirit because I don't want to shortchange y'all, because these next 5 weeks is gonna be crucial, because that's what we got to do. We got to get back. So we got to put God back on the throne. You know what I'm saying? We got to. And that's one of the things I pray for on a regular basis. Lord, help this nation as a whole. Open our eyes up and see that we removed you off the throne, and make the decision we need to make that put you back in your position, your rightful position on the throne in our lives, so we'll be able to have a future. Because the way things are going right now, we don't have a future. The human race as a whole does not have a bright future, at least. You know what I'm saying? But I know all we got to do is put God back on that throne, and we can get back to where we need to be. So we're going to be in Judges chapter 17, and we're going to see this, like I said, this small little story about this guy named Micah, this Israelite named Micah, that's living in those days where God was not on the throne. We're going to see the kind of things that they're going to do. And over the next chapter, like I said, this is kind of more of an introduction, and we're going to really get into in the next few chapters of the kind of vile and evil thing that goes on once we no longer have God in our lives to be our standards. So, of course, I'm reading out the New Living Translation. I'm a King James believer. I'm not being a heretic. I just believe in King James, but my ministry lost sheep, and it's for people that don't really have that close relationship with the Lord just yet, to spend time with the Bible. And I read out the New Living Translation to make sure people understand what's being said here today. So I'm going to start in my Judges chapter 17, and we see the first verse is going to be our first point. So it said, sorry, my tip of my nose is itching. Yeah. I know it was right in the camera scratching, but I don't know what's going on. I think they said your nose itching, you're going to kiss a fool. So I guess I'll kiss Reds later. Don't tell I said that. So in chapter 17, verse 1, it says this. The Lord tells us this. He said, a man named Micah lived in the hill country of Ephraim. One day he said to his mother, I heard you curse the thief who stole 1,100 pieces of silver from you. So this guy, he said his mama, one day he heard his mama cursing. Somebody stole some money from her, and he heard his mama cursing that person. So that's going to take us to our very first point. This is what happened when you live in a world where God is no longer king. What happens number one is this. We value material things over the well-being of others. We start to value, and y'all see that, and especially in this country, we value material things more than we value the well-being of others. There's so many times when I go out and knock on doors, I'm talking to people and ask them, do they go to church? One of the main excuses, if they just like, I don't go to church, but one of them out here is I don't go to church, I don't believe in organized religion. I hear that a lot. Or I don't go to church because some bad experience. I hear that a lot. But another one that I hear a lot is, I work on Sundays, or I work too much, so I don't go to church, kind of thing. See, that's valuing. We value material things over the words of God, over the well-being, not only the words of God, the well-being of others. Because you understand, right here it says he heard them cursing. So this ain't her just, spewing out bad words like, MF this or GD that. When back then, when they curse somebody, they would actually like put a curse out. They'll be like, may whoever stole that gold or my silver, maybe their private region shrivel up and they never have babies. You know what I'm saying? Or may all their kids die in a horrible accident or something. They would actually pull out some kind of curse. They would wish some kind of evil thing and ask God to do it. That's the thing. Make God, that's why I say God damn it. That's why you should say that, because they asking God to damn somebody. You know what I'm saying? They would actually ask God to do some evil thing as retribution for something that was done to them. So she had some money come up missing, and she cursed somebody because her money came up missing. And I don't know what the curse was. Don't say what the curse was, but it was a curse, so it wasn't something good. You know what I'm saying? So because she lost a little bit of money, she wants somebody else to have some kind of significant harm or some significant activity happen to them in their life. And that's what happens to us when we get away from God. We value material things over the well-being of others. And we see this every day, and we don't even realize it. I know it happened to me one time. And actually, it's funny that I'm talking about this because I just told this story this weekend. I haven't thought about this in a long time. I was out soul winning this weekend. I was down in Nashville. I was having a friend move, and I just so happened everything worked out where I had just enough sunlight to go knock on doors for a couple of hours. So I went into the projects over there behind Kroger's over there off Monroe. So I was out there, and I came across a group of young teenagers or whatever. Got to talking to them and sharing my testimony with them a little bit, and how I used to sell drugs and had guns and all that stuff, and how I gave all that stuff up for God. And I remember that this one young girl, she said, "Can I ask you something?" Like, yeah. She's like, you said you had a gun? I'm like, yeah. She's like, have you ever shot anybody? You know what I'm saying? And they was just so interested to see if I shot, because that was a cool thing to them. You know what I'm saying? The project is cool that, you know what I'm saying, I would have been this cool guy had I been able to say, yeah, I shot somebody before. But I said, you know what? No, I haven't. And I thank God that I haven't. I said, I had one situation where I almost shot somebody, and because of God intervened, I didn't. And what happened was, I used to live in West Nashville. When I first moved up there and I went to TSU, I lived in West Nashville. And of course, I was young and dumb, and I used to put like all these high-priced radios and speakers and all that stuff in my car. So at one point, in the span of probably 3-4 months, my car got broken into like 3 or 4 different times. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I would go buy me a new system and get it in my car, and then maybe a month or so later, it got broken into. I mean, this happened 2 or 3 times. And then it got to the point I was just fed up. You know what I'm saying? Like I was working my butt off. I wasn't, I wasn't selling drugs at the time. I was just working my butt off. I was putting myself through college and doing all this. So I felt I deserved to have nice stuff. And then somebody else, instead of going out, they working their butt off and getting nice stuff, that they just gonna take mine. So I had got fed up with it. And what happened was they broke into my car this one weekend. And the very next weekend, my cousin came and spent the night with me. And he had a little system in his car. Now, just so happened during the day after they broke into my car, this lady left a note on my car. And she stayed in the apartment building right next to me. And she left a note on my car. And she like, hey, said, I don't know you, but I just want to let you know I saw those guys going in your car. She said, he said, they've been breaking in all kind of cars. Because apparently it was like some kind of burglary ring going on. And she said, they've been breaking in all kind of cars around here. She said, I saw this big, like, black Suburban looking truck creeping through here. And right when I looked out the window, I saw some people climbing out of your car and jumping in this truck, and then they pulled off. So she told me that, and she said, I know that I couldn't see a license plate or anything, but I just want to let you know to keep an eye out for it. So she told me that. I'm thinking of, so fast forward, my cousin come up, stay for the weekend. And back in the day, I used to keep a journal. And so at the end of every day before I went to bed, I would sit and I would write down every single thing I did for that day. Like every single detail, every thought I had, you know what I'm saying, everything I did for that day. And I did that for years. So this very next weekend, I'm sitting at my table. Everybody had went to sleep. Me and my cousin, we had hung out and everything, and everybody was asleep. And I was the only one up, and I was writing in my journal. So I'm sitting there, and it's like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm writing, and I hear a loud engine, kind of like idling. And I can tell, like, whoever it was, they were going really slow. So I still wasn't putting two together. Like, what is going on? Who the heck is this out here just kind of cruising around at 2 o'clock in the morning? So I went and looked out the curtain, and when I opened up the curtain and looked out, guess what it was? A big black-looking Suburban creeping. And I said, that's the guys that broke into my car. Now, at the time, I had a gun. I had a .45 pistol. So I told my cousin, I said, hey, the dude that broke into my car outside. Ran in my room and grabbed my pistol and headed out that door. And when I was heading out that door, my intention was to run up on that truck and shoot whoever was in that truck. That's how upset I was, and that's how ignorant I was, that I was about to go and take these people's lives over a $200-300 radio. You see what I'm saying? Why? Because I valued that radio more than I valued them people's lives. And now what I told the young girl, I said, now that I serve the Lord, I realize what a vital mistake that would have been in my life had I done that. And I'm so glad. And because what happened was, by the time I got there, I guess the guy saw me creep out the window, because like I said, I didn't realize it was somebody, you know what I'm saying? Had I known, I would have cut the lights off and, and looked out the window and then creeped up on them. But I just wasn't expecting them to come right back the very next weekend and break in the cars again. So I guess they saw me look out the window. And when they saw me look out the window, I guess because I heard them blowing the horn. And then by the time I grabbed my pistol, cocked it back and got down the steps, because I was on the 3rd floor. By the time I got down there, they was gone. You know what I'm saying? And had they not been gone, or even had I saw them pull it off, I would have shot at that vehicle. I know that was my intention, my whole heart intention, to shoot at that vehicle. And realized that I could have possibly killed somebody, and a stray bullet could have went anywhere and hit somebody that had nothing to do with that. But I could have possibly took a life over a radio. That's foolish. You know what I'm saying? Now that I look at it, that's foolish. Back at the time, I was upset. I was fed up. I wanted to kill this dude because they kept breaking into my car. You know what I'm saying? But now I look back on it, that was foolish. But that's what happens when you put material things before the well-being of others. I want to take those guys' lives over radio. And we do the same thing, and we don't even realize we're doing. When you look at alcohol companies, you know what I'm saying? There's got people out there, and they don't know no better. They just, I got to know a guy that works with me. one of the engineers that work with me, just got a job with Anheuser-Busch. And he just moved to St. Louis. I think it's Anheuser-Busch, moved to St. Louis. But you got to understand, when you work for alcohol companies, you're consenting to what they're doing. Whether you're driving the trucks, whether you're delivering it or whatever, you're consenting to what they're doing. And what do alcohol companies do? They make money off of people's misery. You know what I'm saying? Because if you talk to any executive, they wouldn't admit it. Alcohol companies don't make money off people that just drink a beer every now and again. Now, if somebody have a beer every now and again, they don't make money off that. They make their money off of alcoholics. They make their money off those people that get out of work and go grab a 12 case every single day. You know what I'm saying? The ones that spend their whole weekend drunk. That's how they make their money. They make their money off of alcoholics. So somebody disorder, some disorder they have, somebody that's doing something that's destroying their lives, destroying the lives of their children. You know what I'm saying? So how many people do y'all know have seen where people have alcoholics completely ruined their lives? Or you got people that got out there and got drunk driving and ran into somebody else because they're drunk. You know what I'm saying? That alcohol dependence, it brings misery into the lives of others, and there's companies out there profiting off of that. Why? Because they want to make a buck. They want to make a buck. Same thing with tobacco companies. You know what I'm saying? Look how many people have died from cancer. And I hate tobacco the most because with alcohol, I can avoid alcohol. But with smoking, if I walk past somebody and they're smoking, guess what? That smoke come right up in my nose. Or if I've had times where I had to get a ride with somebody and they were smoking the whole time and I can't tell them to put the cigarette out in their own car, they giving me a ride. You know what I'm saying? And of course, with smoke, secondhand smoke is just as bad as doing it firsthand. You see what I'm saying? But people are not concerned with the well-being of others. And you got tobacco companies that made billions and billions of dollars off of the misery of others. Why? Because they're more concerned with the material things than they are with the well-being of others. You think about bars. You know what I'm saying? Well, what are bars? What do people go to bars for? They're depressed or whatever, lonely, whatever, and they go to the bars and sit there all night and drink all their checks away. There's several preachers where I heard testimonies. There's one of my favorite preachers, name was Dean Miller. That's part of his testimony. He said, man, I would get my paycheck and my family wouldn't even see me the Monday because I spent the whole weekend drinking my whole paycheck away. Kids didn't have clothes. There wasn't no food in the house, things of that nature, because I was out getting drunk. So there's people lives that's being ruined. There's people livelihoods being ruined because of alcohol. But yet you got companies that still constantly making this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Pushing it out there. Need people to be miserable and in a situation they have these disorders so they can make a quick buck. See, that's what happens. Same with drug dealers. And I was one of those myself. Drug dealers, you know what I'm saying? People out there selling crack and pills and this fentanyl and heroin, all this stuff. That stuff destroys people. It's not only destroy the user, it destroys everybody that's around that user. Everybody that's around that addict is affected by the addict's addiction. But yeah, you got people out there man, I gotta make me doing what I gotta do. You know what I'm saying? Destroying families. They see the crackheads and the heroin addicts bringing their kids bikes. You know what I'm saying? To trade their kids back bikes for drugs, knowing that whoever that addict was, that was probably their kids' bike that they just brought to trade in for those drugs. You know what I'm saying? People paying getting kicked out of their house because instead of paying their rent, they go into the drug dealer, give them money to the drug dealer to get the drug. It's destroying people. And instead of being like, man, look, this is evil. I'm not going to have no parts of this. I'm done with this. We got people out there, they make a career out of it. You got career drug dealers. You got people that's career people at the alcohol company. You got people that made their career at these tobacco companies. And everything they doing, you know what I'm saying, it makes everything they do to make money destroys the lives and the well-being of others. You know what I'm saying? And when you put it like that, well, that's simple. Why do we do these things? Because material things have come more important than the well-being of others. And that's what we have going on here with this situation. She lost a few coins or whatever. And now that's a great sum, $1,100. That's a big sum. You know what I'm saying? But she's so upset about that money that she cursed somebody. She don't even know. And the thing was, the funny part, she didn't even know who did it. She just, whoever did it, cursed it. And it turns out it was her own son, because watch what happened. So he said, the man named Michael lived in the hill country of Ephraim. One day he said to his mother, I heard you curse the thief who stole 1,100 pieces of silver from you. Then check this out. He said, well, here they are. I was the one who took them. So she out there cursing somebody because of this, the silver came up missing, didn't realize she was cursing her own son. You see what I'm saying? And she out there cursing people over the because she was more concerned with this money, this material thing, than the well-being of another person's well-being. And then you realize she was cursing her own son. You know what I'm saying? So then that takes us to number two. So the son set up and said, well, it was me. I was the one that did it. I'm the one you cursed. So number two is this. Another thing that happens when God is not king is we are disrespectful or disobedient to our parents. Why are you stealing from your mama? Why did you take that from your mama? And kids do that all the time. They steal out their parents' purse or steal, you know what I'm saying, steal out their wallet. You know what I'm saying? My kids try that with me, but I'm too broke. I keep an eye on I better not be missing a dollar. I'm coming looking for, hey, who's in here in my room, messing around my room, took my money off the nightstand. I'm coming for you. You know what I'm saying? But this guy, he heard his mama cursing. He knew his mama said, probably saw her walking around, putting her hair out, you know, turning the house apart, looking for this money, and he had it the whole time. You see what I'm saying? He had it the whole time. That's disrespectful. That's disobedient. Why are you going? And I'm pretty sure she didn't just have that laying around. It wasn't just like she had a bowl of silver coins laying around. He had to go into her purse or wherever she kept her money at. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have safes back then. But I'm pretty sure that large amount of money ain't something she just had lying around. He had to go snoop through her bedroom or her purses or a jewelry box, whatever, to find that money to steal from his mother. Why would you do that to your parents? She already gave you life. I'm pretty sure she's already provided for you, you know what I'm saying, and brought you up and nurtured you, and you gonna steal from her? Why? What kind of person would do that? A person that don't have God in their life. See what I'm saying? And we see that. Look how disrespectful these kids are today. Look how you can't tell a kid nothing. I'm so glad. I thank God that I did not become a teacher. I wanted to be a teacher. That was one of my career choices. I wanted to be either a doctor or like a football coach and then like a PE teacher or something like that, or a photographer. Those are three things I always wanted to do when I was younger. And I ended up being none of them. I ended up being a chemist. You know what I'm saying? So how God worked. But I'm so grateful, that I did not become a teacher, because there's no way in the world I'll be able to work in this school system today with these little disrespectful kids today. They don't listen. You can't tell. Then they taking corporal punishment out of the schools, so you don't have nothing to threaten them with. You know what I'm saying? All you can tell them, oh, I'm going to tell your mom or your daddy, which if their mom and dad are out there on drugs or not really active parents in their life, that ain't going to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? You can't kick them out of the school. You know what I'm saying? It's insane. And these kids are so disrespectful these days. There's stuff, and then I'm the victim of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just as guilty as everybody else, because there's stuff to my kids. Now, my kids are more respectful than most, but when I look at the standard of how I was raised, it's stuff that they do right now that they would have had the taste smacked out of their mouth if they did that when I was younger. If they said the stuff they say to my wife. Now, my wife, it's kind of her fault. She plays with them a lot, and she more friend with them than anything. So, you know what I'm saying? So they have that, but then sometimes kids just take that little relationship and take it too far. You know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying? But you have to be stern. You got to know, you love them, but you have to be stern with them as well. And this stuff that they said to her, where I just happened to hear it, and I had to come in like, oh, what did you just say? Kind of thing to your mama. You know what I'm saying? Or still mama on their breath to me. That would have got me knocked out back in the day. You see what I'm saying? Why? Because back in the day, we believed in the Bible. And they believe in the Bible say you should mess your kid up on a regular basis. The Bible says if you don't mess your kid up on a regular basis, you don't love that kid. The Bible actually says that. Now, I might be paraphrasing, but that's what it says. It says spare the rod. Because a lot of people say spare the rod, spoil the child. That's not what it says. It said the man who spared the rod hated his son. He said, but those who chastise them, I'm misquoting it, but chastise them. But it's basically saying if you don't spank your child, you hate your child. But if you do chastise your child often, then you really love your child, because you'll keep the evil out of their heart. That's basically what it's saying. Now, I'm paraphrasing that. You go look it up. But that's in there. The Bible basically saying you should be messing your kid up every day. And look what we got to now. It damaged them psychologically if you spank them. And, you know what I'm saying, you should just give them time out and all that. And look how wild these kids are today. You know what I'm saying? Kids are the ones, the ones that's doing all this killing and these shootings. It's kids. They're out there, all these kids on drugs and stuff. I saw this post the other day from the girl that I know, a friend of mine from back in the day. She was kind of upset and worried because she had a son that's in the 5th grade, and one of her son's friends got suspended from school because he got caught vaping in the bathroom. And in 5th grade. You know what I'm saying? And she like, what is going on in this kid's life? And they were like, well, you know, and the excuse was, oh, well, he got some things going on at home, blah, blah, blah. She's like, but what's going on in this kid's life that he's vaping, you know, in the 5th grade? And I said, hey, that's the least of the things they're doing these days. These kids these days, elementary school, already on pills, already having sex, already doing all kind of crazy stuff. And vaping is the least of the word. If they got caught vaping, you got off a light. Kids are doing way more than that these days. They're way more advanced. And we thought we was bad when we was younger, sneaking around doing the stuff we were doing, playing catch a girl, get a girl, stuff like that. No. These kids got us beat. You know what I'm saying? Before they even get, because my kids know, I talk to my kids, and you know, and they'll say something, I'm like, well, how you even know about this? It's like, Dad, everybody knows about this stuff. Like, y'all are in junior high. You know what I'm saying? Y'all are in elementary. How do you know these things? Because that's what happened. That's what our society come through, because it's a world without God. You know what I'm saying? The Bible say your kids, he said your enemies are going to be people in your own house. And I'm telling you something, you got to watch your own kids these days. These kids will take you out and post it on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Snitch on themselves. That's how dumb they are. They'll do some dumb stuff and then post it online for everybody to see, get themselves in trouble. Why? Because they're disrespectful and disobedient. No, when we read Romans, I don't know, some of y'all want to hear when we read through Romans, that's one of the things it said, they'll be disobedient to parents. That's what happened. That's why we looking at our kids. That's why our kids are in a situation they are now. That's why our kids are so dumb. Most of them are dumb. Y'all get upset at me if you want to. These kids are dumb. They're ignorant. They're wild. They have no morals. They have no sense of respect at all. They have none of those things because we've taken God away from them. They took the Bible out of school. They took prayer out of school. You know, so I thank God that this little country town I'm in, they still allow it to an extent. You know what I'm saying? They still allow Bible in the school and prayer and things of that nature in school, because most of the people are good Christian people in this area. But, I mean, you go to a major metropolitan city, you ain't seeing that stuff at all. You're not seeing that at all. You in a big area, big school, you're not going to see no Bible. You're not going to see no praying in school. You're not going to see none of that. You know, look at all the football coaches that's been suspended or fired because they prayed with their teams and things of that nature. You see what I'm saying? That's because we're living in a world where God is not the king. That's why we seeing this thing. This man here, his mama, he saw his mama probably pulling her hair out, looking for this money, going crazy, because that was a lot of money. It says 11,000 pieces of silver, 1,100 pieces of silver. That's a lot of money. I don't care if that's 1,100 dimes. That's a lot of money. And he heard his mama, cursing and like I said, racking her brain, and he had it the whole time. Probably sitting there laughing about it. You know what I'm saying? If they had Instagram out there, he probably posted, look at my mama, look for this money, and I got it right here. Why? Kids are disrespectful these days. They're disrespectful and they're disobedient. You know what I'm saying? And that's another effect of what happened when God is no longer the king. You know what I'm saying? And we were really losing our kids, man. We're losing our kids as long as we got them dying from the syrup and this fentanyl and just the killing and robbing and shooting and all this stuff. These are kids doing all this stuff. It used to be that was something the OGs did. No, that's the kids doing this. Why? Because God is no longer king. So we see the situation. So we got this lady. She's upset. Number one, she was upset because she valued material things over the well-being of others. So when her money came up, she started cursing people. She didn't even know who it was. Turns out it was her own son. Number two was how we are disrespectful and disobedient to parents. And again, we just talk about our kids. So then after that happened, so he gives his mama the money back. So then he said, well, here the money, here they are. I was the one who took them. So then his mama said, the Lord bless you for admitting it. For admitting it, his mother replied. The Lord bless you for admitting it, his mother replied. So you say, they're like, okay, she's a godly woman. You know what I'm saying? She must know God. She said, the Lord bless you. Then he said, he returned the money to her, and she said, I now dedicate these silver coins to the Lord. So once again, okay, she's a good godly person. But then what she say? In honor of my son. So in honor of her son, the creation, not the creator, in honor of my son, I will have an image carved and an idol cast. So his mother took 200 of the silver coins to a silversmith who made them in the image and made them into an image and an idol. What part of the game is that? How's that worshiping the Lord? That's the main thing the Lord said don't do, worship idols. But yet you say you're going to honor the Lord, you're going to honor your son by making this silver into an idol? So number 3 is this. This is another thing that happens when God is not king. We don't put any effort into truly knowing the Lord. That's what happened. When God is not king in your life, you're not going to put any effort into truly knowing the Lord. That's why I don't get a lot of views on here. Y'all know I be spitting this hot fire on here, man. This gospel be getting me all riled up. I be spitting that fire on here, but I might maybe have 20, you know what I'm saying, maybe 30 views. Why? Because nobody want to put in the effort. You can go and watch a movie. You can get on there and watch a movie. Go watch a Marvel movie. Sit there for 3 hours and won't bat an eye. But let me get on here and go over an hour and a half, 2 hours, and my video won't get no plays. Why? Because nobody's willing to put in the effort to really get to knowing the Lord. That's why we're in the situation we're in. It takes some work to really know the Lord. We see her like she said, "Oh, the Lord bless you." So it sounds like she's spiritual. "Oh, I'm gonna dedicate this silver cord to the Lord." Sounds like she's spiritual, but yet she said the way she's gonna dedicate it is by making an idol, doing the very thing that God says not to do. So what does that tell me? What does that show me? She don't know the Lord at all. She has no clue, because if she knew the Lord, she would know the very last thing the Lord would want her to do was to make a freaking idol. He says in the law. Now, this is over in Judges, so they still go by the laws. They still go by the laws. And one of the main things in the law says is to not to make any idols or anything in the similitude of anything to worship it. But yet she claimed to know the Lord, and she going to take these silver coins and make an idol. See, we don't put any effort into truly knowing the Lord if the Lord is not on the throne of our lives. You know what I'm saying? We have these casual relationships with the Lord. And that's what most people have. Most people think they know the Lord, and they don't. And this is not judging. Most people don't know. Y'all have heard me say this before. Most people don't know the Lord. Most people know of the Lord. Because if you knew the Lord, you would not have no problem consistently reading your Bible every day. If you truly knew the Lord and all he did, you would not have problems doing whatever you need to do to build that relationship with the Lord. You won't have no problem doing that work. You know what I'm saying? That's why y'all got to understand, like for instance today, I'm going to spend 4 hours of my day with the Lord today. Because I spent about an hour and a half putting this together. It's already 8 o'clock, so I'm going to be anywhere between an hour and a half and 2 hours to preaching this lesson. And then when I get done with this lesson, I still got to go and get my reading and studying done for my own benefit. You see what I'm saying? That's time spent with the Lord. That ain't including the prayer time that I have for the day. You know what I'm saying? I spend that time. I put that effort every day into spreading the word of the Lord. I went and got my tags today. I went and got my tags. Lord blessed me with a brand new vehicle. Had to go get it registered and stuff. Went to the county clerk's office. And you know what I did when I was in there? It was like 3 women sitting at desks or whatever. Now I walked out. I gave each one of them a gospel tract. You know why? Because I truly know the Lord. I put in that work that it takes for me to do the work that he has me to do, to get his gospel out there, to tell other people about him. But when you don't truly know the Lord, you're not going to be willing to put in that work. If it's hard for you, man, I want to go soul winning, but I just can't bring myself to do it. Well, you don't know the Lord. It's that simple. Man, I want to read my Bible. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes I just be so tired, I just don't understand. Well, you don't know the Lord. Because you're not putting in the effort of the work to get to know the Lord, so you'll want to. It's no problem me read my Bible. I mean, I have days, like especially like tomorrow, I got the Lost Sheep Ministry tomorrow. That's a long day for me. I'm going to probably get about 5:30 and start my day, and I probably won't make it back home to about 10:30, 11 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? I'm somewhere doing something, moving, going on, teaching people, picking up people. That's going to be a long day. And you know what's the first thing I'm going to do when I finally get back to my house? I'm going to sit down and read my Bible. And I've had time when I try to read my Bible and I'm dozing and you know what I'm saying, I got to read the same verse 8 times because I'm just not comprehending. I'm so tired. But no matter what I do, I put the effort in to, and if I've got to a point too, I've had time where I was so tired reading it that I made it through it. And then the very next day after I got some sleep, I went back and read it again because I knew I didn't comprehend anything I read, but I still want to spend my time in the Word because I truly know the Lord. But see, when God is not on the throne of your life, you're not going to be willing to put forth that effort. That's why we, you know what I'm saying, on here, our sister Rhonda, I love you to death. Thank you for always being here. You know what I'm saying? Every week she's here. You know what I'm saying? Since I've been here, it ain't too many videos that I did that she's missing, you know, unless you have fun. I appreciate that. She puts in the effort. She's in churches just as much as I am, and yet she's still here watching this video tonight talking about the Lord as well. That's work. That's what the kind of effort you got to have. You know what I'm saying? She must be a glutton for punishment. You know what I'm saying? But it's not there. She just really loves the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Pat, I see you on here often. You know what I'm saying? Nikki and Anthony, I appreciate y'all being here for the last few weeks. You're putting in the effort because y'all know I'm going to get on here and talk for forever. But yet y'all come in anyway. That's putting in the effort. But everybody's not willing to do that. You know what I'm saying? I have some people, some weeks I have some people here, some weeks I don't. Some weeks people show up, some weeks don't. A lot of time it's just me and Sister Rhonda here, hanging out. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because nobody is willing to put in the effort. That's why we can't have a consistent relationship with the Lord. Nobody's willing to put in the effort to truly know the Lord. This woman, I'm gonna get this to the Lord. I'm gonna dedicate it to the Lord. And she goes and make an idol with it. If you knew the Lord at all, you would know that's the last thing God would want you to do, to make an idol with it. But when you have a casual relationship with the Lord, when you just know of the Lord and don't really know the Lord, then you'll do something that ignorant. You'll do something that's foolish. You will go and make an idol, make the very thing God said not to make, to honor him. She said, I'm going to honor the Lord by making an idol. That is idiotic. That's straight idiotic. But that's what happened when God is not on the throne of your life. You have this casual relationship with the Lord and you don't really know the Lord. And that's what most people know of the Lord. Like I was in the project, I'm knocking on doors and I'm talking to people. And you know what I'm saying? You'd be amazed at how many people, when you see the way they living, and I don't judge people, but if you just look at the way somebody's living, the things they doing, you're like, man, they can't be saved. And then you talk to them like, oh yeah, I'm saved. I remember a time like, man, you know what I'm saying? So they're saved. They know of the Lord, but they don't really know the Lord. They never put in that extra effort to truly get to know the Lord. And that's why they're trying to take God out of everything, because it's work. You know what I'm saying? I've told y'all before, y'all heard me say this before. If you're going to really serve the Lord, if you're really going to have a close relationship with God, there's going to be some work you're going to have to do. It's going to be work. It's not easy. You know what I'm saying? There's sacrifices you're going to have to make. There's things you're going to have to give up. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to give up a lot of your time. I spent a lot of time with this. And last week we had the Lost Sheep Ministry. When I had a Lost Sheep Ministry, that's a long, busy week. Because I got Monday, I do this on Mondays. Tuesday, I had the Lost Sheep Ministry, which is the all-day thing. Wednesday, I have church. And I'm also doing drug counseling at the rehab center in Camden. So all 4 of these days, they're taken up. And I had to do that last week because we had a 5th Tuesday. And then I got to turn around and do it again this week. That's work. I'm wore out. Thank God I'm taking off Friday to celebrate my anniversary, my 18-year anniversary. So I'll be taking off this Friday. So I better get in a little rest. But man, it's work. But this is what got to be done. This is what I want to do. And I have no problem with doing it because I truly know the Lord. I know the goodness of the Lord. And I want everybody else to know that goodness. So that's why I'm willing to put it in this work so everybody else can know the same goodness that I know. So hopefully they'll be willing to have that close relationship with the Lord. Because if not, you're going to be out of this lady. Oh, I'm going to dedicate this to the Lord and go out and do the very thing that God said not to do. Worship an idol. You see what I'm saying? That's ignorant. But that's what happens when God is not on the throne of your life. You'll do things and say it's of God, do things and say it's of God, and it's really not of God. I was talking to this one lady the other day. God, and she said, drinking ain't that bad. You know, as long as you have a little bit, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, what does God say? You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're really trying to serve her. I said, I don't drink because the Bible says you shouldn't drink. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're in a position of being a preacher or a teacher. He said, you know, you shouldn't have strong drink. No drinking. He didn't say have you a little bit. Now, there's one point he said, if you're sick, have you a little bit, like he was talking to Timothy, he said, drink you a little wine to help your stomach out. You know what I'm saying? If a man, how you doing, Miss Jean? I'm glad you're in here. It's been a while. I'm glad you're here. Hope everything is all right for you. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you being here. But, you know what I'm saying? But the people there, oh, well, no, it's okay to drink. It's okay to do this. And they'll rationalize it, say, oh, God don't mind. But in reality, if you really knew God, you would know this ain't something you're supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? So if you're doing stuff you're not supposed to be doing, and you rationalize saying, oh, God want me to do this, then you really don't know God. And that's what this lady, oh, I'm going to honor God by making an idol and doing the very thing that God said not to do. You don't know God. You know of God, but you don't know God. And that's what happened when God is not on the throne of your life, when God is not the king of this world, then we all have these casual, frivolous relationships with the Lord that don't really mean anything because we're really not putting no effort into truly getting to know the Lord. And obviously this woman did, because it took for her to read a little bit of the first few books of the Bible, and she would know, which they had at the time, she would know that the last thing God wanted to do was make an idol. She didn't know that because she didn't put in no effort to really having a relationship with the Lord. So after that, so she makes this idol, and watch what happens when you do this because of her ignorance. Watch what happens. That ignorance get passed down. So she says, so his mother took 200 of the silver coins to a silversmith who made them into an image and an idol, which of course we know that's exactly what God, the main thing God hates. Then it says, and these were placed, where did she put them at? in Micah's house. So she made these idols and put them in her son's house. So it says, so these were placed in Michael's house, and Michael set up a shrine and he made a sacred ephod and some household idols, and then he instilled one of his sons as the priest. Now I don't know how much of the Bible y'all understand, but it's so much wrong going on right there. First of all, the only people supposed to be priests are Levites. You know what I'm saying? Second of all, you got to have the authority of God to make somebody a priest, which you don't. Third of all, you're not supposed to be worshiping idols and set up shrines. It's so much wrong going on there that if they had put any effort into really getting to know God, they would know how wrong this situation is. But right there, that statement takes us to number 4 and number 5. First of all, when God is not king in our lives, we corrupt our lives and the lives of everyone around us. We corrupt our lives and the lives of everyone around us. Because this mom, what is Michael doing? He doing the same thing his mom did. His mom, the one, made the idol and gave it to him. So what he did, he made a shrine of the idol. And then not only did he make a shrine of the idol, he made his son the priest. So not only did the mama mess him up, he's messing his son up, and it's gonna keep on going. That's why I say that's what you get, that generational curse, that thing going on. The sins of the father goes down to the 3rd and 4th generation. They passing it on. The mom is being ignorant, not really knowing God. She passed it on to her son, and obviously Michael's passing on to his son because it chose his son to be a priest, and his son is not even a Levite. You see what I'm saying? So we corrupt ourselves. When God is not on the throne, we corrupt our lives and the lives of everyone around us. And y'all have heard me say that several times. Everything you do, matter of fact, we saw that in the lesson Samson that we finished up last week. What happened? Everybody around Samson was getting harmed by his sins, but nothing was happening to him. It didn't get to him to the very end, and finally he got captured and lost his power because God took his grace from him. He lost his power, and they ended up gouging his eyes out, and he ended up living in prison for the rest of his life. And so he finally killed himself along with all the Philistines. You see what I'm saying? But everything he was doing, y'all remember how many people he robbed and how many people died? Thousands of people died because he was somewhere doing something he wasn't supposed to do. See, when God is not king in our life, we're not doing the things that we know we're supposed to do. We corrupt ourselves and we corrupt everyone around us. This woman has corrupted her son and obviously her grandson as well because she did something foolish, supposed to be knowing God, praising God, and go do the very thing that God said not to do, make an idol. That's what happened when God is not not king, when God is not the king. You know what I'm saying? We corrupt ourselves, our lives, and the lives of everyone around us. And also, that same verse we see, we don't leave any hope for our future generations. We don't leave, because we see here, her son is corrupted. Now his son is corrupted, and his son's probably going to be corrupted. You see what I'm saying? And we don't leave no hope. We're not leaving a foundation for our future. You know what I'm saying? Our kids right now, I think y'all have heard me mention this before. For the first time, I think this happened last year, so I'm pretty sure the numbers are even worse now. Last year, they did a survey of how many people they did a count or whatever of how many people go to church. And over 50%, majority of people no longer go to church. That's now. And it's only going to keep getting worse. So what's going to eventually happen is we're going to get to a point where people don't know God. And honestly, that's what started this whole situation with Judges. Because let me take you back real quick. And I wasn't even planning on doing this, but it just, that made me think about it. If we go back to the book of Judges, in chapter 2, let me see. Okay, yeah. And book of Judges, chapter 2. Go back to chapter 2. In verse 10, it says, after that generation died, now he's talking about Joshua. This is the generation with Joshua and Moses and all those guys was as leaders. They always worship the Lord. But it says, after that generation died, another generation grew up who did not acknowledge the Lord or remember the mighty things he had done for Israel. What do we say in Romans? They refused to acknowledge the Lord. So this generation grew up, they didn't acknowledge the Lord. In other words, they took the Lord off the throne. They took God was no longer a king. And what happened because of that? The next generation. Then it said, then the Israelites did what was evil in the Lord's sight and worshiped the images of Baal. And here you go. They abandoned the Lord and the God of their ancestors who had brought them out of Egypt. And they chased after other gods, worshiping the gods of the people around them. And they angered the Lord. And they abandoned the Lord to serve Baal and the images of Ashtaroth. Now over there, Also, I like the way the King James version word that same verse 10. It said, King James version said, and also after all that generation would gather unto their fathers, in the word they died. And there arose another generation after them who knew not the Lord, nor yet the works which he had done. They have forgot the Lord. Within 2 generations, they have completely forgot God. Why? Because the first generation before them took God off the throne. So by the time their generation grew up, they didn't even know the Lord. And that's what we're doing now. We've taken God off the throne, and we're going to eventually get to a future where our kids, our grandkids, and maybe our kids, because it's happening so rapid, is not going to even have a good solid foundation to build their lives upon. That's why I tell my kids, look, y'all have the freedom like my boys. I would love for them to go to church every Sunday. They're not going to church like I want them to do, but they know of the Lord. I built that foundation in their lives. You know what I'm saying? And when there was some stuff going on, I'm like, hey, when the last time you were in church kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? They know, but that's going to get to a point where nobody is going to have the kids. Our future is not going to have that foundation, that word of the Lord to stand upon. And they're going to end up just going farther and farther away from the Lord. And just eventually this whole world is going to be just shrouded in darkness. You see what I'm saying? And we're getting to that point because you don't know. You can ask a kid anything. Like when I be talking to people, I be like, man, you familiar with the story of Samson, right? And they're like, no. I'm like, how do you not know the story of Samson? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's one of the major stories in the book. Or the people don't even know about Adam and Eve. I mean, this little simple stuff to us. We're like, how you not know that? You know, even if you don't know the details, you know some of it. When I go out there and knock on doors and talk to people, man, even the major stories, they have no clue what I'm talking about. Why? Because we're no longer building their foundation. We're no longer filling out the foundation. And when we take God off the throne, that's what we're doing. We're removing him from the future generations. Now, there's still I'm still running my mouth. There's still some good old-fashioned preachers that's around. But for how long? You know what I'm saying? Look, we got to look at now is we okay. I believe that's why we haven't been completely destroyed yet. But where we're going to be at 30, 40, 50 years from now? You know what I'm saying? I'm 43, about to turn 43 here in a few months. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't got too much longer. I'm lucky if I do, even if I get to 100, I might have another 50-some years left. And I'm not even sure if I'm have the ability to preach when I'm that old. You know what I'm saying? So where we're going to be at 40, 50 years from now? Will we even, would our generations even know God at all? And with the way things are looking, they're not. They're not, because we've taken God off the throne in this generation. And what we saw back in Judges chapter 2, it only took 2 generations before they got to the point where they didn't even know the Lord. And this, you got to understand, this is not even 2 generations away from when they went and conquered Jericho. When they walked around the city of Jericho 7 times and the wall of Jericho came crumbling down. This is only 2 generations removed from when they walked across the Jordan River and on dry ground. You know, the Lord stopped the water from one end and let the water flow down to the other end, and they got to walk through on dry ground. This only happened 2 generations before they got to a point where they didn't even know the Lord. You see what I'm saying? So when we take God off the throne, we might not think it's a big deal, but it's a huge deal, especially for our future. And right now, with the way things are going, if we don't have a revival and we don't get back to getting God in our lives, putting God back on that throne, our kids are not going to have any hope for the future. They're not going to have, if this world is all you got, if this world is all we really got, man, how miserable are you? You know what I'm saying? There's no hope in this world. I'm so glad my hope, yes, no, that things are okay here, but I'm so glad that my true reward, my true hope is in when I go through that door called death. But now they're being taught there is nothing. You die and that's it. So you got to sit down here and live 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years of misery, and then you just go to nothing. That's what they've been taught. So they have no hope. So if they have no hope, why would they? If you have no hope, why would you want to sit here and live a good life and try to be good? You'll give in to all your earthly indulgences and give in to what that flesh wants. Because you have no hope of the future. You have no hope. Oh, man, this is all I'm going to get. I might as well enjoy it to the fullest. YOLO. You know what I'm saying? That's why people have that attitude, because they have no hope of the future. They have no hope of something better than this world. You see what I'm saying? And that's what we do when we take God off the throne. So 2 things there. We corrupt our lives and the lives of everyone around us, but we don't leave any hope for our future generations. And we see here what this mama did there. She made the idol, put the idol in her son's house, and then her son made a shrine of the idol and made his son the priest. All these things are wrong. These things are so far away from what God intended and so far away from the things that God wants. But this is what happened when God is not on the throne in your life. So then the next verse he said, So then he said, so in those days, oh, matter of fact, here you go, right here. And this is where I got my point. So it said, Michael set up a shrine and he made a sacred ephod and some household idols. Then he instilled one of his sons as the priest. And like I said, if you know the Bible, you know anything about the Jewish law and all that, you know how horrible it is. But it's a reason why they're able to do this. The reason why they're doing this horrible thing and it don't seem like a big deal, because right here, this next line, it said, in those days, Israel had no king, so the people did whatever seemed right in their own eyes. See, in those days, they had took God off the throne. They didn't have no king. They took God off the throne, and that's why they did whatever they felt like doing. That's why you got, again, what I was talking about earlier, that's why you got the transgender, you got a dude compete with women, and they giving him the women's records. That's why you got guys, dudes throw on some makeup and have a little surgery, and they winning woman of the year. Why? Because we live in a world where there is no king anymore. God is not on the throne anymore. Again, no, not that he's not king in our hearts. We don't acknowledge him as king. Let me say that, because I don't want to say God not king. God is always king, but we don't acknowledge him as king in our lives no more. And that's why we had those things. So number 6 is this. This is another thing that happened when God is not on the throne. We make our own standards according to the wickedness in our hearts, in our own hearts. We do what we want to do because of what we feel like. What is the main thing they say? You know what I'm saying? What is the main thing they say? What up, man? There go my boy Mark. It's been a while, man. I was actually thinking about you this weekend, bro. I'm glad you in here. I was down in the Ville, and I was helping Jessica move, and I was like, man, what is Mark doing? By the time we got through, man, I didn't have no time to do it, but I'm glad you're here. I appreciate you. But number 6 is this. When God is not on the throne, we make our own standards according to the wickedness in our own hearts. You see what I'm saying? And that's, again, goes back. Why are we seeing the transgender? Why are we seeing the sex slaves and sex rings and all these weird things that's going on? Because God is not on the throne. And since God is not on the throne, guess what? We don't have no standards. If they can convince you that this book is just some old book that men wrote and it has no power to it, it has no validity to it, then guess what? That frees you to do all this thing that this book told you don't need to do. It frees up your conscience to do all this thing that this book done told you that you don't need to do. It allows you to give in to their flesh. That's why they want to discredit the Bible. That's why they want to take the Bible. That's why they took the Bible out of school. That's why they don't even preach the Bible in some churches. That's insane. You know what I'm saying? Like Joe Osteen, he don't preach out the Bible. You know, he might say some kind of quotes or something like that, but how you gonna preach the word of God and you don't even use the Bible to do so? They don't even have the Bible in churches. Why? Because the Bible gives you standards. It lets you know right from wrong. It lets you know if you're supposed to be doing those things or not supposed to be doing those things. So what we do is, I'm just not going to read the Bible, or I'm just not going to listen to it, or I'm going to discredit it, and that way I can do what I want to do and I don't have to feel bad about it. You see what I'm saying? See why? Because we make up our own standards according to the wickedness of our hearts. I'm telling y'all, it's not going to be long before it's going to be legal for men to have sex with young girls, and it's not a big thing, under 18-year-old. And I mean, they already working on it now, calling it intergenerational relationship. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because we no longer have any standards. And when we take God off the throne, we take out the standards of our lives, and we just go out there and willy-nilly do whatever we want to do, whatever. That's what they tell you. Oh, you know, when people arguing about, you know, so when they make arguments about like homosexuality or whatever, let them do what feels good to them. It ain't hurting nobody. It is hurting somebody. It's hurting you, and it's hurting everybody around you. You see what I'm saying? Because what I say in number 4, we corrupt our lives and the lives of everyone around us. It is hurting us. You know what I'm saying? When people out there doing, when y'all go out there and do stuff you're not supposed to be doing, it affects me. Just like if I do stuff I'm not supposed to be doing, it can affect you. Y'all, I'm sorry about that. It affects everybody. It affects everything, and we got to understand that. But see, that's why they want to take the Bible out. If they take the Bible out, if they make the Bible invalid, then guess what? We no longer have standards. We can do whatever we want to do. A man can marry a man. A man can marry a horse if he wants to. Because why? The Bible said, well, the Bible ain't real. It was written by men, so I should be able to marry this horse if I want to. Oh, man, I want to marry a car. You can't marry a car. Why not? The Bible said, well, the Bible ain't real. It's not valid, so I should be able to marry this car if I want to. See, it takes away our standards. You know what I'm saying? It takes, God has said, he gave us explicit rules on things that we should do. He given us explicit instruction on what we should do, how we should behave, the way we should talk, the way we should treat others. And if that's too hard for you, the way to get away from it, just say, well, it ain't real. And that's what they doing, because they know, I told y'all, it's hard to serve the Lord. It's hard to do what God wants to do. I struggle with it myself. I'm not sitting here perfect. I'm not sitting here before y'all perfect. I struggle with it myself. I'm always joking with people like, man, like, they're like, what you up to, man? Trying to stay out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? But I'm dead serious about that. You know what I'm saying? I've had situations where I can get in a lot of trouble. You know what I'm saying? I still flirt with it from time to time. Just human nature. You know what I'm saying? But I don't cross the line, because I know I got standards. I know if I do this thing, that I know it's going to turn bad for me, because I know the Lord. I know what I've done. The Lord said, don't do that thing. But see, if you take the Bible, you make the Bible invalid, then guess what? Now everything is wide open. Whatever you want to do, you can do. If you're a grown man and want to have sex with a 10-year-old girl, you can do it, because there's no standard to say you can't do that thing. You know what I'm saying? If you're a man and want to be with another man, you can do it, because there's nothing to say you can't do those things. If you want to be you're a man and say you want to be a woman, you know what I'm saying, you feel like a woman, you can do it, because there's no Leviticus to tell you that if you were anything, a man wears anything pertaining to a woman, it's an abomination. See, if you get rid of the Bible, you get rid of that verse, and you can wear whatever you want to. You can be a drag queen all you want to. But the Leviticus say, if a man even wears anything that pertains to a woman, it's an abomination. See, you get to have all those abominations you want if you ain't got no word to guide you. And that's why we're working in systematically. That's why our government and the world is systematically taking God off the throne, has taken God off the throne, so it allows us to do whatever we want to do, so we can end up in the hands of Satan instead of in the hands of our Father in heaven that wants to take care of us. And we think, oh, we having fun, we living our life to the fullest. I'm going to tell y'all something, man. I did the drugs. I did the sleeping around with many women. I did the selling drugs. I did the having the money. I did all that. And nothing I did while I was living that wild life has even come remotely close to the fulfillment I have from serving the Lord. Not even remotely close. Not even by a long shot. And the peace I have in my life and the blessings I've seen, the way I've been able to be a blessing to others, it don't even come remotely close. So we think that's the thing. The world is fooled us to thinking that we're missing out on something because we following God's standards, when in reality, we're missing out on something when we don't follow God's standards. See what I'm saying? But they got us convinced. And that's what happens. And that's why they've taken the Lord off the throne. That's why we see our world crumbling before our very eyes. We got the wars. We got women being raped. You got folks killing kids. We got men saying they women and women saying they men, and men hooking up with men and women hooking up with women and women hooking up with animals, and all kind of craziness going on because we've taken God off the throne. We no longer have standards, and that allows us to do whatever we want to do. And that's what this dude did. Everything, like I said, I don't want to really get into it, but if you really know your Bible, you would know how wrong that is. From his mama taking the money and making an idol, to him setting up the shrine, to him making his son a priest. All those things are terribly, terribly, horribly wrong. And the reason why, because they wasn't going by the Bible. And what did it say? In those days, Israel had no king, so the people did whatever seemed right in their own eyes. So they was at that point, and that's why they was constantly in destruction. They was at that point where they didn't have no king. In other words, they took God off the throne in their life. And that's why they was doing this abominable thing, because they had no guidance, because they had no God. So then the next verse he says, so one day, a young Levite from Bethlehem in Judah arrived in the area of Ephraim, looking for a good place to live. He happened to stop at Micah's house as he was traveling through. So now here we go. Now remember when I said the priests and all that stuff, how it was wrong? The Levites are actually supposed to be the priests. Levites are the ones that God actually dedicated to being a priest. So all right, maybe they'll get it correct. But what did it say about this Levite? He said, one day a young Levite from Bethlehem in Judah arrived in the area of Ephraim looking for a good place to live. He wasn't looking for a place where he can go serve the Lord. He was looking for what? Somewhere where he can go and take serve himself. So that's going to be number 7. Number 7, another thing that happens when God is not king, when God is not on the throne, when God is not king. Number 7 is this: we're more concerned with being where we want to be instead of being where we are supposed to be. We're more concerned with pleasing ourselves than pleasing God. We're more concerned with doing what we want to do instead of doing what God wants us to do. That's what happened when God is not on the throne of your life. Y'all think I want to be sitting here running my mouth to y'all for 2 hours every single day? You know what I'm saying? Spending an hour and a half doing it. There's so much stuff I can be doing and like sleeping because I've had a busy couple of weeks. You know what I'm saying? But I'm here because this is what I'm supposed to be doing. You know, so I'm so grateful that we got 4 or 5 people in here, and I've been seeing people come in and out. I'm so grateful for that. That definitely encourages me. But whether it was just me, if it was just me in here by myself, you know what I'm saying, I will still be here because this is what I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm not supposed to be living my life for myself. I dedicated my life 18 years ago to the Lord to do his work. And see, that's what Levites are dedicated priests. They are dedicated priests from their birth just because of their bloodline. They're dedicated priests. But he didn't say he was looking, what did he say? He said, looking for a good place to live. He wasn't looking to go serve the Lord. He was looking to go serve himself. And that's what happened. That's why we're such a selfish nation. And again, Romans, that's why y'all noticing now why when I started off reading Romans chapter 1, verse 20 through 32. If y'all didn't see the introduction, go back and see that, or look it up in your Bible. Now you're seeing it because that's one thing it said. It's going to be selfish. We don't go give into our own desires. We only going to do what we want to do instead of doing what we're supposed to do. And that's what happened. This Levite supposed to be wherever the ark of God is at the time, because they still got the ark. They have the ark at this time. So he's supposed to be wherever the ark of God is at and doing his part as a Levite, serving, teaching people the law of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Teaching people the ways of God, leading people in the direction. He's supposed to be doing what I'm doing right now. If you're a Levite, that's what you do. You are a dedicated preacher because your lineage, your bloodline. You're a dedicated preacher from birth. You know what I'm saying? You're dedicated to doing the work of God from birth. But where is he at? He's out here over in the land of Ephraim looking for a good place to live. See what I'm saying? Why? Because he's more concerned with being where he want to be than being where he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be wherever the ark of God is there, serving the ark of God, serving the Lord. But where he's at, I want a good meal, good. I mean, I want to get some. I'm trying to wake up and look at the beach every day. You see what I'm saying? I'm trying to go somewhere where I can ski every day. I ain't worried about doing this God stuff. I'm trying to do something for myself. See, that's what happens when God is not on the throne of your life. You're going to live your life to do what you want to do instead of doing what God wants you to do. And what's going to happen? It's going to end up getting you in trouble. Because watch what happens. So he said he's traveling through looking for a good place and just happened to come by this dude, Michael. So then Michael asked him, he said in verse 9, where are you from? Michael asked him. And he replied, I am a Levite from Bethlehem in Judah, and I'm looking for a place to live. Stay here with me, Michael said, and you can be a father and a priest to me. So it shows you that he knows of the word. It shows that Michael knows of the word, but again, like I said, he only have a casual relationship because he realized, oh crap, I got a Levite, a real priest. You know what I'm saying? These are the God-ordained priests. Forget my son, this is a real priest. And once he realized that, he asked him to stay there and be a father with me. He said, father to me. Now, the thing is, again, Levites were not the father to some particular person. They were supposed to be a father, a priest and a father to the nation of Israel. So, again, it shows you a reference back to number 6. We make our own standards according to the wickedness of our own heart. This man, Michael, he wanted to have I not only have a priest, I got an actual Levite as a priest. Oh, man, I'm on that. So he like, man, come be my father and a priest to me. And then what he tell him? He said, I will give you 10 pieces of silver a year and plus a change of clothes and your food. So again, it goes back to number 1. He's talking to this Levite and what he's trying, I'm going to pay you if you stay here and do it. Now the Levite, if he's a proper Levite, he knows darn well this is wrong. He knows that he shouldn't be no priest in a man's house because the ark of God is not there. The only thing they got there is that shrine that Michael set up. So he knows without a doubt, if he's any kind of Levite, he knows how wrong that is. But watch what he's going to say. Watch what he's going to do. He said the Levite agreed to this and became like one of Michael's sons. So Michael ordained the Levite as his personal priest, and he lived in Michael's house. And again, Michael don't have that authority. He don't have the authority to ordain anybody as a priest because he's not a Levite. He's not a priest himself. You can only get the authority for that from God. But that's what happened when we make our own standards according to the wickedness in our heart. And the Levite himself, he knows better than that. But guess what happens when, number 1, when we value material things over the well-being of others? He was supposed to be a priest to the nation of Israel, not to one man. But this dude came and, hey, I'm going to give you some food, I'm going to give you some money, come be my priest. And we say, okay. So see, again, when this takes us to number 8, when God is not on the throne, when God is not king, we'll end up with a nation. We become a nation. Number 8 is this: we become a nation of blind followers following blind leaders. And that's exactly what America is now. Look at what we got, that joke we got in the White House right now. Look at what's going on. Gas going crazy. We got wars going on. They still ain't really fully recovered from all of the riots and stuff. And when those people took over Portland, Oregon, or whatnot, I can't remember what city in Oregon they took over. We got the blind leading the blind. You know, anybody? I remember. I was talking to my niece, and she was like, when Trump. Now again, I didn't like Trump. I didn't think that. I thought he talked too much. I wasn't from his first term. Definitely, I definitely didn't vote for him. I thought he talked too much. You shouldn't be on social media, president. You know what I'm saying? But me liking a person and him doing his job is two completely different things. So even though I didn't like the guy after his first years, I saw what a great job he did while he was in office. You know what I'm saying? My company was profiting like through the wazoo. Everything was going up in my company. It was doing good because I deal with, work with metals and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? The gas was down cheap. There wasn't no wars. We didn't even have no terrorist threats. We have none of that when Trump was in office. But people was upset because the one thing about Trump, he got in there and he did exactly what he said he was going to do. That's the crazy part. He said, hey, if he said, I'm going to do this, he did it. And people got upset. And now we got somebody in the office that said they're going to do all these things and haven't did none of it. Oh, we're going to get rid of student debt and we're going to do this and we're going to do this. Haven't did none of the things that he said he's going to do. All he's done is run this country into the ground. You know what I'm saying? And I remember my niece, I was messing with her because anybody know me know, and I'm saying this for the lesson because it came up, but anybody know me know I do not like politics at all. I don't believe, I have no faith in politics. I have no faith in our government. The only way we're going to get back, this country's going to get back to where it's supposed to be at. The only way we're going to get back to living the way we're supposed to live is going to be through God. I'll let y'all know that right now. You know what I'm saying? But I was messing with her because when the whole election was going on, I mean, she was biting this. And her and my brother-in-law, they would go back and forth over Biden and you know what I'm saying, and Trump and all that. I mean, they was all over it. And then now, a couple of weeks ago, she going to post, man, I ain't know things gonna be like this. I ain't no Trump. And I kind of chimed in. I was messing with her, you know what I'm saying? I was like, oh no, I said, it's too late now. I said, you getting what you voted for. Man, I didn't think it was gonna be like this. I said, that's exactly the problem. You didn't think at all. You let the TV and social media and Facebook and all that think for you. You know what I'm saying? I said, if you would have took any time and researched what Trump had did in them first 4 years, you saw that he did a great job. Yes, he talked too much. I understand. Don't like him as a person. But as a president, the decision he was made, he did some darn good work while he was in there. You know what I'm saying? I said, and that's the problem. I said, you didn't think, you let everybody think for you. So it was a whole situation where the blind was leading the blind. The media told you that Trump was a bad guy. The media told you that Biden was the guy we need to have. And y'all believed it and voted for him. And look what we got now. And within 2 years, he's completely destroyed this country. This country is so divided. You know what I'm saying? It's so messed up. I mean, it's insane. You know what I'm saying? Got the stuff going on in Russia, which that's affecting us as well. You know what I'm saying? All this stuff happened because you had the blind leading the blind. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happened when you don't have God on the throne, because you have no guidance. You follow anybody that comes along and give you one speech. What did Biden do when he first got it? Said, oh, I'm going to give y'all money. No, gave everybody money. The stimulus check, and now freaking I can't even spend less than $1,000 on freaking groceries. You know what I'm saying? You get a bucket of groceries, you're gonna have to take out a loan to get your groceries right now. But we had them stimulus checks, it was good in the beginning, but look at us now, struggling, gas $4. You know what I'm saying? It sucks for me because I got 2 big old Suburban trucks. You know what I'm saying? Gas $4 a gallon. You know what I'm saying? Loaves of bread almost $20. You gotta learn to take out a loan to go buy groceries these days. Why? Because the blind was leading the blind. And that's what happened. This Levite, a Levite is supposed to be a teacher of the people. Again, go back, y'all. I ain't got time to go back through all the laws or whatever. But when he dedicated the Levites, when David dedicated the Levites, when God dedicated the Levites, their job was to teach the people the word of God. They were supposed to be leading people toward the Lord, but yet you got this Levite that's listening to this man that ain't even a Levite. You see what I'm saying? You got the blind leading the blind, and that's what we have. We have a nation. We have a nation. The reason why our country, the way it is, the reason why our world is in the situation it is, because we have a nation and a world of blind followers following the blind. Anybody that comes along with a pretty smile and give you some good sounding words that make you feel good about yourself, you go right along and vote for them without even doing any kind of research on what this person is actually about. And then once you vote for them, get them in there, then now it's too late to remove them. You see what I'm saying? So now we just got to deal with this destruction for the next 2, 3, 4 years, however long this stuff lasts. Why? Because the blind was leading the blind. And that's what happened. That's another thing that happens when you take God off the throne. God is supposed to be our standard. He gives us the guidance we need. He gives us the wisdom we need. Everything that I tell y'all, everything that I do, all of my actions, I'm always asking God. And I'm not perfect, but I'm always asking God, please, Lord, make sure I'm doing the right thing. Please, Lord, guide me in the right direction. Even with this new vehicle I just got. Lord, please, I got to buy this vehicle. I know how big the person is because I'm broke. And if I make the bad investment, it's going to hurt my family. Please let me get the right one. Lead me to the right one. And he worked everything out. I'm always asking for God's guidance. But if God is not on the throne, you don't. You just do whatever feels good to you. And that's what's going on here with this situation. Everything is this, and this is 13 verses, and look how much wrongness is captured, how much abomination is captured just in these 13 little verses. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because God was not on the throne. And that's what happened when God was not on the throne. So when you're looking at our country, you're looking at our world and everything that's going in, that's why it's like that. Because we've taken God off. And it starts with us. You know what I'm saying? Yes, the nation as a whole has to come together. But you as an individual, you got to make the decision for yourself that you're going to put God back on the throne of your life. You know what I'm saying? And then it starts with you, and then it trickle down. It trickle down to your kids. You know what I'm saying? It'll trickle down to your family members. It'll trickle down to your co-workers. It'll trickle down to the person that you come across at the store. It just trickles down to everyone. So it starts with you. So what can we do to get God back on the throne? You need to make sure you put him on the throne of your life and start living a life like he is on the throne of your life. If he's on the throne of your life, you won't do these ridiculous things that you see these people doing. You know what I'm saying? And one more, this is my last point. I'm be done, y'all. I know, as I said, I'm going to try to take that out of half. I'm kind of close to it. Well, I'm a little bit over, but that's all right. I think it's been good. So the last point. So number 8 was when God is not on the throne, we become a nation of blind followers following the blind. And the last one is this. And this is so many of us right here. I know y'all going to feel this one. So in verse 13, the last verse, he said, now I know the Lord will bless me now, Michael said, because I have a Levite serving as my priest. So he knew, you see what I'm saying? He knew he wasn't supposed to have anybody serving as a priest. He knew his son was supposed to be serving as his priest. He knew that Levites were supposed to be priests. You know what I'm saying? And he also know that he shouldn't have an idol and he shouldn't have a shrine in his house for that Levite to serve there. But now he's thinking, oh, I got an actual Levite as my priest. God's going to bless me. So that's going to take me number 9. What happens when God is not on the throne in our life, when God is not king in our life? What happens is we are more concerned with what God can do for us instead of what we can do for him. And that's how most of us is. What can God, if I do read my Bible, God, what you going to do for me? If I do pray to you every day, God, what you going to do for me? If I do go to church all the time, God, what are you going to do for me? You see what I'm saying? That's what happened when God's not on the throne. We're more concerned. Yes, I ask God for blessings all the time. Like I say, he blessed me with this new vehicle. We needed one because my other one's about to die. You know what I'm saying? I ask God stuff because I do need stuff. I need stuff to do the work. But whether God gave me that or not, I was still going to keep doing the work. You know what I'm saying? If I just had to ride my old truck until the wheels fell off, I was going to ride until the wheels fell off. He blessed me with something else, a slight upgrade. But whatever he gave me, I was going to still do his work. And that's what a lot of us, we go into the attitude, what can God do for us? Instead of what can I do for God? When I got into this ministry, all I want to do, man, God, I just want to give my life to serve you. I want to do everything I can to help people come to know you, to bring people closer to you, to do what I can to build your kingdom. What can I do? Show me the way. And he showed me. He led me to River Lake Baptist Church. You know what I'm saying? I started, soul winning. And then I started my Lost Sheep ministry. And then the video, start doing Facebook. I'm doing drug counseling. I did jail ministry for a while, so they shut me down. I wanted to serve the Lord, and he showed me things that I could do to serve him because I wanted to benefit him. I want everything I do. I want this lesson. Yes, I'm whining about people not watching my video, but it's not because I just want to feel good and have a lot of people listen to me. It's because I want this word to get out. I want people to see this. I want people to take these words into their heart and change their lives and start giving their life to serving the Lord. That's why I do these things. I want to benefit him, not for him to benefit me. Not so I can have money in my pocket. Not so I can have some huge ministry. Not so I can have people looking up to me, kissing my butt. That's not why I do this. I do this because I want people to look up to God. I want people, when people see me, I want them to see God. I want them to see the goodness of God through me. And I want them to want that same thing, desire the same thing, and make the changes and decisions they need so they can have those things. That's why I do this. But most of us is only concerned, what is God going to do for me? That's why you'll go to church for a little bit. You might get on here and watch these videos for a little bit. But then when you see you still not getting the blessing you thought you should have, you fizzle out. You go right back to doing the same thing that you was at first. I remember the pastor talking about it, and I believe it's true, because I wasn't in the church when this happened, but back when 9/11 happened. And he said when 9/11 happened, he said that very next Sunday in church, like it was standing room only. You couldn't even find a spot in the church. You know what I'm saying? He said that happened, went on for like 2-3 weeks. And then about the 4th week, you know what I'm saying, it was still full, but it was a few more spots available. And then he said about 6 weeks after it happened, it went right back to normal, the same normal people. Why? Because they were so scared they wanted God to do something for them, but God wasn't acting fast enough, and they just fizzled out again. And that's what we do. And that's why I tell people, you got to be consistent with God. Whether God is blessing you, whether you in a season of blessings or you in the season of storm, you got to praise God the same. I pray and do everything I do for God when God is blessing me, the same way I pray and do everything for God when God is punishing me. You know what I'm saying? Y'all remember I did this a while back. I did a sermon. Can you praise the Lord? Do you praise the Lord the same in the valley as you do when you're on the mountaintop? And a lot of us, we have no problem praising God when we're on the mountaintop, when everything's going good. But when things not going our way, that's when we get all upset, get all butthurt. You know what I'm saying? And that shows you that you don't really care about God. You don't really care about doing work for God. You care about God doing work for you. And because now you feel that he ain't doing nothing for you because you're going through this little valley, because you don't have the things that you think you should have. You don't have the things you think you deserve to have. Then you just going to take your time away from the Lord. You see what I'm saying? And that's what he was thinking. He was on concern. He wasn't concerned with really serving the Lord. He was concerned with what can he get from the Lord. And now, I got to leave right now. Oh, God really going to bless me. What am I going to get now? You see what I'm saying? Because if you look back a little bit ahead, you see Judges, not Judges, in the book of Kings. I think it's Kings and maybe Samuel, where David, he really wanted to serve the Lord. So he was trying to bring the ark of God into Jerusalem because he knew he needed the ark of God. He knew that country needed the presence of God. That's the only way they're going to be successful. So he tried to bring the ark in. And, you know what I'm saying, the first time he attempted, he did it wrong. And God ended up killing the 2 dudes that was toting the ark because they weren't supposed to be toting it in the first place. That was pushing the ark on the cart because they weren't supposed to be pushing the ark on the cart in the first place. They were supposed to be carrying the ark. So when that happened, they ended up just putting the ark over into this guy's house named Obed-Edom. Now, when they put the ark in Obed-Edom's house, it says it was there for like 3 months. And the 3 months it was there, God completely blessed the guy's house. You know what I'm saying? Like everything, the guy, his crops started flourishing. You know what I'm saying? His women was getting pregnant, which is a big deal back then. You know what I'm saying? The calves, they wasn't having stillborn thing. Everything this guy wanted, he can have. You know what I'm saying? And when David saw, they're like, oh man, we got to get and they did it the right way and they brought it in. You know what I'm saying? Now, David wasn't doing that because he wanted the blessing God. He really wanted to serve God because you see that if you look at the life of David, he really served the Lord. That's why you look through those Psalms. Even though he was a mighty warrior, you know what I'm saying? He was smart, wise, and all those things. Everything he did, he always gave God credit for because he really served the Lord. He wasn't concerned with what the Lord was going to do for him because the Lord had already made. Matter of fact, when the Lord gave him this promise, he's like, man, it was overwhelming to him. He's like, oh man, he's like, who am I and who am my family for you to be making these promises to me? Like, I'm a nobody. I'm a zero with the ring rubbed out. Why are you making me these promises? Do you treat everybody like this? You know what I'm saying? He was just like, man, like, what is going on here? You know what I'm saying? He wasn't trying to get enough for the Lord. All he wanted to do was, you know what I'm saying? All he wanted to do was serve the Lord. He wanted to make the Lord happy. And that's what we should do. We should be wanting to serve the Lord. We shouldn't go to church because we want the Lord to get rid of our problems. We shouldn't go to church because my life is a mess right now and I want God to come in and straighten this mess out. No, you should go to church because you want to make sure you're somewhere we can learn more about the Lord so you can do more for the Lord, so you can do more for building his kingdom. That's why I go to church Sunday morning. That's why I go to church Sunday night. That's why I preach on here on Monday night. That's why I preach at the Lost Sheep Ministry every other Tuesday. That's why I go to church Wednesday night. That's why I go do drug counseling on Thursdays, because I want to do everything I can to help the Lord build the Lord's kingdom. All I want to do, the only thing I want from the Lord is for when I do see him face to face, to hear the words, well done, thou good and faithful servant. That's all I want from the Lord. You know what I'm saying? All this other stuff he's giving me, you know what I'm saying? This wonderful wife, these kids and all this stuff, all these things are other blessings. These are blessings, perks of serving the Lord. But my goal is just to serve the Lord, to get him to do my part, to build his kingdom so this world will know about him. So my kids and the world will have this foundation of the Lord. So even after my generation is gone, people will still know the Lord because of the work that I've been able to do because of his grace. That's my goal. So if your goal is to, if you starting back your relationship, you get back into a relationship with the Lord because you got some problems going on and you want things to start going back good, and you realize the only way they're going to go back good, because if you get back to the Lord, that's the wrong motivation. I'm going to tell you that right now. You get in that relationship. If you start a relationship, get in that relationship and stay in that relationship, whether the Lord start helping you or not. That's the only way you're going to be able to truly get blessed. Don't be like this guy here. Oh, I got me a Levite now. I know the Lord's going to bless me. What can I get from God? You know what I'm saying? It's just like that. I think John F. Kennedy said, ask not what your God can do for you, but ask what you can do for your God. Now, he said, ask not what your country, there's a famous quote. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country. But that's the exact same thing. Ask not what God can do for you. Ask the Lord what you can do for him to build his kingdom. So that's it, y'all. That was the last one. That was number 9. I told y'all it was a short chapter still, but it's just so much goodness in here. And I hope y'all are seeing what I'm talking about. These things, the stuff that these people are doing are foolish. That's insane. This woman, want to honor God, and so she set up an idol. Then her son sets up a shrine and makes his son, it's a whole lot of foolishness going on. And it seems idiotic, but this is what happened when God is not on the throne. And this is why when we look at our society and the things going on, like I said, men being women, women being men competing with women, breaking women's records, all this stuff going on, it seems foolish. It blows my mind, but that's what happens. That's what happens when God is not on the throne. So I thank y'all for joining me tonight. I'm going to give you my ending lessons, my ending announcements, of course. Remember, if anything particular y'all want to talk about that I haven't talked about already, in the stories I haven't covered, let me know, inbox me, and I'll work it to my lesson plan. Now, my game plan, like I said, we're going to finish out Judges. So all the rest of the lessons are going to be like this. We're going to take all these we got 4 more chapters, and we're going to look at how far away from God that people have got, and the kind of thing. There's one situation, there's one chapter here where dudes are just going to abduct women to make them their wives. I mean, it's crazy. They're going to do some crazy things, and it's all because they was at a point where they didn't have God in their life. God was not on the throne. So I'm going to cover this. The last 4 book of Judges is my game plan over the next few weeks. But if y'all got something that you want me to discuss I haven't yet, please inbox me and let me know. I'll work it into my lesson plan. Continue to share the videos. Tell others about the videos as well. I appreciate y'all doing that. The ministry has been growing. I have been getting views. There's been people watching that I didn't even know watching it, and they compliment on the stuff. So that's a blessing. I appreciate that. Keep doing that. Again, not to build so I can get to feel good about myself. It's because I really want to get this word out. I believe that this word that I have comes from God, and I want to do everything I can to build his kingdom. And I appreciate y'all helping me do so. Of course, if you're watching this wasn't a salvation message, but if you're watching this and you're not 100% sure that if you was to die tonight that you would go to heaven, please let me know. Reach out to me and let me know. I will set up some time and I will go over the gospel with you. Or if you think I talk too much or take too long, I will, to try to help you find somebody that will be willing to go over the gospel with you, so you can know this, because it's the most important decision you'll ever make in your life. And I would hate for you to sit here and let me run my mouth to you for a whole hour and a half, 2 hours, and you don't even know if you're going to heaven, because that's the most important thing ever. So reach out to me if you don't know, and if you need any kind of spiritual counseling or anything you want to know about the Bible, questions, whatever, reach out to me and we'll discuss it. I don't know everything. There's still a lot of growth I need in my Bible, understanding of the Bible as well. Don't get me wrong, but Lord has blessed me with a lot of wisdom, and I'll be willing to share whatever I know with you to help you out. And of course, y'all go on my YouTube. I have slacked off on my YouTube. I'm missing about the last 3 or 4 videos. Not too far behind, but I'm going to get back up on it. But if y'all want to check the other ones that I do have on there, this is my YouTube page. Go and put in God's Servant / Lost Sheep Ministries with a space between each one. It'll take you to my YouTube channel, and you can watch all of my videos without having to. If it's one that you want to go back and watch, especially I finished up Samson. That was a good one. I haven't got that on YouTube yet. But if you don't want to have to go scroll all the way back to my page to find old videos, it's easy to go to my YouTube, and I got all of them in order in which I did them. So again, I thank y'all. I went a little bit over, but I just felt it was really good. And I really hope y'all see this again. See the importance of putting God. And again, yes, when you look at the world as a whole, it's overwhelming. You know what I'm saying? But there's only so much you can do. And it starts with you. If you put God back on the throne in your life, it'll have a trickle down effect. Just like we saw his mom didn't have God on the throne in her life, and she had the trickle down effect in a bad way, it happens the same way in a good way. If you just put God back on the throne in your life, and you start following God's standards, and you start living the way the Lord wants you to do, then the other people around you will see that, and they will follow suit, especially if you have kids, and you have, or you're a kid, or you're in a position where you're a leader of the people around you. If you do it, the people will follow. You know what I'm saying? We'll get away from having this nation of the blind following the blind. So I love you all. Thank you all for joining me. I have several people here tonight that I ain't seen or talked to in a while. So I appreciate y'all being here. It's definitely an encouragement to me. And I pray y'all will join me next Monday, same time, 7 o'clock. And we're going to go over chapter 18. And we're going to do part 2 of When God Is Not the King. All right. So I love you. I'm praying I'm going to get out of here. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this wonderful lesson tonight. Thank you for all that decided to join us tonight, Lord. Thank you for drawing them here to this lesson. And I pray that the Spirit touch their hearts tonight as we went through this lesson, Lord. Help us to see that this craziness is going on because we've created it. We're the ones making these decisions that allowing these things to happen. We're the ones that making decisions that got our kids out here killing themselves with drugs and alcohol and sex and catching STDs and doing all this crazy. We're the reason why men think that they should be women and women think they should be men and that should be right and they should be protected by law and all these things. We're the reason for those things. It's our decisions. It's not you doing it. All you did is just step back and let us make our own decisions because you've given us the free will to do so. So I pray you just help us see how important it is, Lord, to put you back on the throne in our lives. Give us the want to do so. Give us the want to give our hearts back to you so we can come together as a nation, as a world as a whole. Some I pray for all the time, Lord, it's for the day when the world as a whole, we will humble ourselves, pray, seek your face and turn from our wicked ways so you may hear from heaven, forgive our sins and heal our lands, Lord. Please guide us back to you before it's too late and we go past that point of no return and we completely lose your grace and your love upon our lives, Lord. Just continue to watch over us all. Be with this ministry. Continue to help it grow, prosper, reach out in the community, change the lives of others. Continue to be with me and my family. Give us the strength to make it through and continue to use us in a mighty way, Lord, to get this word out to the others and help them see how important it is to get in your word, put you on the throne and follow your word so we may have standards in our lives and we may live our lives the way that you will have us to live our lives. I thank you so much for this lesson tonight. This is a wonderful lesson I believe you gave me, and it's definitely of your spirit. So I'm thankful. I'm not taking any credit for it. It was all you, Lord. I thank you for it. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share it. And I pray that it will touch the hearts of those that need to hear it so they may do that part, make their decision to put you back on the throne and make you king of their lives as well. We love you so very much. Thank you for everything and ask you to keep us safe and protect us till we can gather here once again to honor and glorify your name and actually build your kingdom. We love you and thank you for everything and say this prayer in your wonderful son, Jesus' name. Amen. So I thank y'all, man, for hanging in there with me. Again, I appreciate y'all being here. Sorry I went a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I just think it's so good. I told y'all I was going to try to cut it short, but I didn't want to shortchange you. But I appreciate y'all for being patient with me. But more importantly, I thank y'all for putting in the work. Even though it went longer than I expected it to go, you still put in the effort to be here. And that shows that you're trying to grow and you're trying to have a relationship with the Lord. And that's where it starts. Like I said, it starts with you. So I love y'all. I continue to pray for y'all. And I pray y'all continue to pray for me. So until next time, remember to always watch your back and pray. Peace. Love you all.